What's up, y'all? What's up, man? Listen, man, we got a good show on our hands. We gonna let PSC. You know, it's one of my favorite songs. Shout out to PSC with Ti, Big Country Kane, and all the rest of them dudes. Names I don't remember at all. we gonna vibe a little bit. Let's get it, man. Y'all hit the like button. We got good information to put out. Thank y'all for who always a part of the Hoop Jogging experience. What y'all know about this jam right here? What y'all know about this cut? Shout out to Zen in the building. Early of those tattooed tears. Good to see you, Zen. All right. Let's get it. Okay. All right. So as everybody knows right now, you know what? I may open up the panel early. If we're gonna talk about this Kyrie Irving situation needs to be addressed. And as I said in the title, do not hold your breath on Kyrie Irving to Phoenix. And I'm gonna tell you why. Hoop Jogging know a little something about the Phoenix Suns. Wink, wink. I know a little something, doggone it. But I want to set backdrop properly. Because the mainstream media talks about subjects like this, and they may not have the proper sources. They may not be privy to what's going on. So I watch what they say, and I hit up my sources, and they, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, they're not congruent. So this is more or less a reason for me to give you that backdrop why you should be over here with this uncut dope that is Hoop Jogging. Because I get it. I don't have ESPN backing me up. I don't have Fox Sports 1 backing me up. But I got sources backing me up. I know what I'm speaking about when I speak. So with that being said, let's go ahead and delve into what Fox Sports 1 was saying on Speak for Yourself. And let's see what they say. And I'm going to get my commentary. So let's do that. Y'all hit the like button. All right. It's always start with the commercial. And appreciate y'all being a part of this. You know I go sporadically online.
He shoots.
But you know what was funny? I try to speak when I know what I'm talking about. Because one thing I don't ever want to do on this channel is to just bloviate and just say things that aren't tantamount to reality. Things are not real. And I gotta say, this Kyrie Irving situation is not what y'all think. But let's get it. Let's do it.
Just 24 hours away from NBA free agency, but here's the report you need to be made aware of.
Y'all hit that like button.
Kyrie Irving allegedly planning on meeting with the Phoenix Suns. Now remember, Suns already added Bradley Beal. So what is their roster currently? Beal?
So as I show in the graphic,
Kyrie Irving is playing.
As I show in the graphic also, is it going to be a big four? And I'm going to tip my hand on this conversation. No. There's no such thing as a big four because DeAndre Ayton is not a big – well, he's a big, but he's not a premier player. So, and I'm gonna walk down why I say what I say, but having a big four, you literally have no room for a bench. But again, we'll walk this down slow. Something he say would be a 4-guard offense. The terrible, my opinion. 4-guard offense with no defense. And listen, Thunder, what you're saying is more right than wrong. But we'll walk this down. So again, I like to juxtapose my opinion to what the main media pundits are saying, and then you guys can kind of see how I draw my conclusions. But with that being said, let's get it.
On a visit, a sign and trade could potentially be worked out with the Mavericks if indeed the Mavericks do have legitimized interest in acquiring DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah. Okay. So Chris Acho kind of said it exactly. Dallas Mavericks have to want DeAndre Ayton, and off rip, they have JaVale McGee under contract. So that's already sketchy because you got two bigs who are very dependent upon, point guard play. So it's like, why would you trade a guy like JaVale McGee making like $8 million a year for a guy like DeAndre Ayton making $30 million a year? Let's hold that as we go forward.
Kyrie Irving has even more legitimized interest in going to the Phoenix Suns. Shady, when I think about this combination of pieces, This would be maybe the most name brand star-studded by back of jersey names team since that Lakers team that had Karl Malone, Gary Payton.
And I agree with that. Listen, this is only a headline story because yes, I mean, listen, if we run this team down, Kyrie Irving at point guard, Bradley Beal at the 2, Booker at the 3, and KD at the 4, like that's madness. That's madness. But at the same time, it's like, what else can you do with those contracts? Because we talking about 3 or 4 $40 million to $30 million contracts. Who else you gonna have on the team? Like Birdman? You gonna bring Birdman back? How do you feel that roster out? That's my question. Manimal says Kyrie at the 1, Bill at the 2, Book at 3, and KD at the 4. Biyombo at the 5. Exactly. That's goofy. Listen, man, Bismack Biyombo is a serviceable role player. I give him all the credit in the world. 6'9", you know, he hits the glass hard. He's a rim finisher, but that's it. Bismack Biyombo gives you no value beside that. Him being a hustle guy. You're not winning a championship with that. Sorry. Let us proceed.
Shaq and Kobe. Like, this would be an iconic by names team. This is no small deal, no small potential announcement. But does Kyrie to the Suns make sense for you?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, it's not so many teams I can say that Kyrie won't make sense.
All right, I'm going to get to Shady because Shady McCoy, Lord have mercy. All right, so Thunder says, also Kyrie would have to take a pay cut. I don't see that happening. Well, so in a sign and trade scenario, it's not even about that. The money got to match up. So the money does match up with so I believe DeAndre Ayton makes 30 million this coming year. Kyrie makes 36 million. So that can match up, but Dallas not taking that. Dallas is not going to take that. That does not help them. Dallas needs another gun. DeAndre Ayton is not a gun. DeAndre Ayton is an afterthought player at this point. So that off rip does not make sense. But again, we'll walk this down slow. Manimal says they might as well bring Serge Ibaka. Not the Reggie Evans beer gang in the building. That's a dope comment. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, like, come on, man. Come on. But I'm gonna let Shady McCoy say his horseshit that he always says. But I mean, I really wonder how dudes like Shady McCoy get opportunities to speak, you know, in a national publication, man. That's funny.
Irving. I think when I watched him play and even after we got traded from Brooklyn to the Mavs, he put up some numbers though. Mm-hmm. All right, he was scoring the rock. He was top 5, I think, in fourth quarter points. Like he was holding it down. So I still think he has that type of take over the game type of mentality though. I think we miss who he really.
Yo, Shady is struggling through this take, man. Dog, talk about football, homie. If you went to the grocery store and you went down the generic aisle, Shady McCoy will fill you up with a whole bunch of products of generic shit. It's just madness. This is madness, bro. Like, this dude is saying a whole bunch of shit, but he ain't saying nothing. Shout out to my guy, Sir Tice. He says there's a certain thing called a salary cap, unless Kyrie is playing for the league. Exactly. So listen, Shady McCoy will fill your basket up with generic sports talks outside of football. But let's keep going.
It's because he off the court things and etc. But it is Kyrie Irving. So now you have Bradley Beal, you have Devin Booker, you have Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving.
I want y'all to see his face while he's saying this. He does not believe what he's saying. Oh man. Respect for Shady, what he done, you know, with his career, being a running back for the Eagles. But he's laughing himself through this take because he knows it's bullshit. And so it's just funny to watch this and how people take that seriously because he does not believe what he's saying because what he's saying makes no sense. No. Let's keep going.
You can put us on the bench. We'll make it happen. Seriously, we'll make it happen, though. So I love the move. I just think that like now, I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving can finally, you know, finish what they started. And we thought in Brooklyn we would get this, but Kyrie's off the court stuff. And then even when KD has some injuries here and there, you don't get to see them focus and watching them play together. We didn't see that. So we get a chance to see them in Phoenix. Oh my God!
But Shady, what we've realized though is that like
that's such a garbage take.
That's why
I gotta say it. That's such a garbage take, man. Shady. Listen, man. Kudos to brothers out here doing their thing, and getting, positions to talk about things in the media. But that's terrible. Shannon Sharp is pretty bad at his basketball takes, in my opinion. Shady is like twice as worse. That's such a bullshit, no content take. And it's just crazy. And shout out to my guy, Sir Tice, again. He said that was a horrible. He said a bunch of exactly what they call that. That's a bunch of word salad. You ain't said nothing tangible. You just filling up airspace. And I get it, man. Everybody, when I talk about football sometimes, I don't know everything. But I leave it to the professionals. I leave it to guys who know what they're speaking about. Say you need to do the same thing, brother. And shout out to Stem, man. Good to see you, brother. I love all respect for these fake stars, man. Nobody wants to compete anymore. And these guys don't play defense. I've always hated playing guys that just want to score. That's selfish. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you know what? That's where basketball is now. And I talked about this with other brothers, man, about the fact that you can get the matchup you want by just doing ball screens. You can do ball screens 2-3 times and you can get the matchup you want. That's bullshit. That's not real basketball. And I got pushback when I said that because there's like, oh, well, don't nobody fight over screens no more. Yes, they do. Your boy Dylan Brooks fights over screens. Your boy Marcus Smart, he fights over screens, and so on and so forth. And it's just like you just bastardizing the game, and I just, golly, man, I hate it. Let's see, that was horrible. Okay. Clearly, someone in his ear. Absolutely. Please don't play. I got to, Tice. I got to. Y'all hit the like button, man. Let's get it.
I don't even love the thought of the move.
But this one, these stars? This is some different stars right here, though.
This is some stars. But what do you going to get?
And then Emmanuel Acho, another football guy. Just these football guys having basketball takes. Just, God damn it, man. The cringe is real, man. Sir Tice says, hey, today I learned exactly what slugging a percentage is. Point. I looked up where these guys don't even learn aspects of what they cover or page to cover. Oh, absolutely. And moreover, these guys have paid, statisticians and things of that nature, researchers, as it were, to do the work for them. So, yeah, absolutely. Acho is 30. Yeah. And, your boy Marcellus Wiley talked about how Acho is. Acho is about, he's a me guy, and no problem with that. But with me guys who don't know a certain level of expertise, you tend to gloss over certain things that are very, pertinent to you nailing a subject. And in basketball, I just never see Acho hit the mark. I just don't. Let's keep going.
It's hard, and we didn't know what that was going to do.
Now they got Joy Taylor on this thing too. So I only listened to about 3 or 4 minutes of this. It's a 14-minute clip. I probably won't go through the whole thing, but Lord, I really want to know what Joy Taylor has to say.
It amounted to nothing.
And no disrespect to my female listeners, but Joy Taylor, for the most part, offers nothing but showing her titties on Instagram. That's what she does for the most part. But let us proceed.
Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, an injured Chris Paul, a late arriving Kevin Durant. Obviously didn't have a ton of time to mesh together. Did get past the first round, but you
I gotta highlight this. Zen said, I haven't watched Joy Taylor watch face. Again, she has value of showing them tatas, right? But when she has like insight, quote unquote, there's no insight. But she's on the panel, so I really want to hear what she got to say.
Beast
only a couple games.
Nuggets. Only a couple games. I believe only
y'all hit that like button, please.
Prior to the playoffs, at most. It might have actually just been 8 in the regular season. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul. But when you add all these stars, Joy, I just don't know that it makes sense. It doesn't to me.
Why would you need Kyrie Irving? There's
Okay, hey, Joy coming out with a flash in the pan. I agree. Like, why do you need another star? You need to fill this roster up. And I gotta say, from inside information, the money won't make sense. This trade will not happen. Believe that. But for the sake of conversation, let's do it. And shout out to Winthrop, man. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Let's get it.
One ball. There's one ball. There's only so many shots that can be taken. You have Kevin Durant, the god. You have Devin Booker.
He shoots. He likes to shoot.
He likes to shoot.
He likes to shoot the ball.
Shoots that ball.
I ain't gonna lie. Joy is looking good today. I gotta keep it true.
He averages quite a few points a game.
Yes,
in order to go score that many points, you have to shoot the ball a certain amount of time. And now Kyrie Irving. What is the main thing that each of these guys do?
Shoot. Offense.
There's only one hoop and one ball.
God damn it, Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor is knocking out the park. You know, hoop jargon was incorrect. That's too many mouths to feed. And so basically, there has to be a level of humility. So for this to work out, you have to have Kyrie Irving not be Kyrie Irving. He has to stop being an offensive savant that he is. I think Bradley Beal, no problem. That's easy with him. I think with Devin Booker, mixed bag of nuts. And I think with Kevin Durant being a little older, we'll see what's up. But that's a lot of ask for guys to be unselfish. And so be damned the actual, numbers game as far as, roster space and, salary, just from a fit of this talent matches with that talent. That's a hard ask. That's a very hard ask. Winthrop says she's a perfect example of wasted talent. I thought her take's pretty good. I gotta say. Let's see. They tried to boost boring ass Kyle Hurd with Joy. Yeah. Kyle Hurd at times is he strikes gold. But then it's times it's just like, no. He said they would have no depth. Absolutely. Absolutely, Tice. Absolutely. Let's keep going.
Too much. If there was more of a dynamic two-way element to this lineup of stars, then I would be into it. Or if they hadn't added Bradley Beal already. But you already did that.
Yeah.
So Bradley Beal and Kyrie Irving, it's nice to have a lot of good, but you have all the same thing. Where's the defensive presence? You're certainly losing any of your height if you get rid of the
Jordan Taylor cooking. I gotta say,
Kyrie Irving would have been extremely
she cooking
in that role that Bradley Beal is playing, but Bradley Beal's already there.
Right.
So I just don't. It sounds good. It's stars. It's exciting, but you also have quite a few extra roster spots that you have to fill out. And as we've seen time and time again, this really happens with every championship, but we've got a lot of this year in the postseason. Those role players, those bench players, they matter. And if you don't have a good bench or a player on a bench that doesn't know what they're doing, it can ruin the season. So
yeah,
I love it.
And you know what? The Denver Nuggets have proven you don't need a super deep bench, because when the Nuggets won the championship, they probably went with about 7 deep. And you can argue 8 deep when they introduced the other Brown, the white boy Brown. But for the most part, their rotation consisted of your boy Jokic, MPJ, Bruce Brown, KCP, DeJounte Murray, Aaron Gordon, and off the bench they had I think I named Bruce Brown off the bench, and then they had the other Brown. That was pretty much their rotation, and they won the NBA championship. So your bench doesn't have to be super deep when it comes down to nut cutting time. But overall, yeah, you got to have some versatility there, because to be fair, DeAndre Jordan, I think game 5 that was when Jokic was in foul trouble. DeAndre Jordan gave you solid minutes. Oh, Jeff Green. Who else? I forgot. So you do have to have a bench, but I think that narrative kind of is usurped a little bit with reality. And reality is you don't have to have a stupid deep bench, but you got to have parts to fit. Let me say that. Winthrop says, Zen, I realize, okay, y'all talking about each other. I think FS1 messed up when they took her off of Undisputed. That's fair. That's fair. So he can be insightful, but he's coasting off this point, which is Cowherd. He takes the safe takes based off his experience, and he's bored with sports. I think there's a lot of validity to that statement. I think Colin Cowherd is an old head, as the that term gets flung around. So yeah, I think he just does. He knows the formula. He does the bare minimum. He likes to psychoanalyze things, and he likes to what's the other what's Coward's thing? Coward likes to he loves to psychoanalyze. He does the Skip Bayless thing pretty much, and yeah, I agree with that. So I also thought Cowherd saw and moved back to the basics too late. I think Sir Ty says there's not enough balls in Phoenix. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so ultimately, that's the sentiment, and it's not a wrong sentiment. It's really not. So you got to have continuity. You got to have guys playing in the proper, spectrum as it comes to like getting the guys, the ball in their hot zone, getting guys the ball when they are most comfortable. This, that, and third. But when it's too much ego on the court, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. The only reason Phoenix is being discussed is because of the big names. Yeah. Absolutely. Zen say pause. I don't know what I said with pause worthy, but I'll take your word for it. Oh, not enough balls. All right, I got you. Pause. For all my New York folk.
The idea of it if they hadn't already made the Beal move.
Yeah. I'm with you. I actually proposed the potential of a DeAndre Ayton for Kyrie Irving swap before the Bradley Beal deal. If KD and Kyrie wanted to prove it wasn't us, it was them in Brooklyn. That's the reason it didn't work. And then I'm going to give you a theory.
That's a pretty fair take.
Is that I believe that the reason that KD has not yet quit Kyrie Irving is because he wants to prove that he and Kyrie
and listen, Rick Buescher is on something right here. And I said this, if you go back on my channel about 6 months ago, I was like, KD and Kyrie have no conflict. It's the upper management. So the same thing that he kind of deduces from that situation, I agree. KD and Kyrie never had a problem. They didn't like Sean Marks. They didn't like the owner. Period. And I hate the fact that they broke that team up because they were winning. They're doing a really good job with Ben Simmons and them and Spencer Dinwiddie. But like at a certain point, things get irreparable. And I think that's where it got with the Nets. And so, it's unfortunate, man. It's very unfortunate, but I think Rick Buescher is definitely on the right path of what he's saying. Yeah, that's definitely Rick Buescher. Yeah, absolutely. Winthrop says, the volume thing had a chance to be something decent, but was too caught up with pleasing the wrong folks, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Tice also says, remember when you heard it from OKC, 45 plus wins, Chet Holmgren, not Wemby, Rookie of the Year. You know what? I think Chet Holmgren and Wemby have a lot of similarities. With Chet Holmgren being, a lot shorter, but a tall, basically Kristaps Porzingis kind of guy, just kind of can do a lot of everything. I think Wemby is way better, and I made a video about this about 7 months ago. So, yeah. All right, so if you guys with that like button, I'd be much obliged. And I'm opening the panel up if you guys want to come up and speak your piece about the Kyrie Irving situation. But I want to let this play about another 5 minutes or so, and then you guys can come up and speak your piece, and let's talk it out.
And Dwayne Wade did. That they are boys, and that we can accomplish the same things that those two did down in Miami. That on some level, KD's always been in competition with LeBron to say, I can do what you did, and I can do it one better.
And so I only agree in the capacity that from a media standpoint, yes, LeBron and KD are in competition. I think KD's in competition with nobody. I think KD just likes to be adulated in the way he wants to be adulated, and that's it. Because when you watch him from a consistency standpoint, he just wants his respect. That's it. He wants his respect. That's it. He doesn't go and try to. He never name drops like that. But he's like, okay, the shit y'all say don't make sense. Here's why the shit you say about me does not make sense. And that's what KD's been on for a minute. Even when he had his burner account. We had his burner account. That's pretty much what he's doing. Just saying, like, you need to give me more respect. I don't think he never really brought up LeBron James. So I think that's more of like projection, as it were. Let's see. Zen says they're going to do all that for OKC to sweep them in the first round. God damn it.
But at some point, Shade, and we'll talk to you because you're the one who's waving the flag for this.
Shady McCoy is an idiot, bro.
What? I know what I want to do.
I'm sorry.
But the circumstances are just not going to allow me to do it. And that's the case with the Phoenix Suns right now with Kyrie Irving. Because trading DeAndre Ayton, the last big man that you like, you talk about being small, then they're going to be really, really
he did a lot.
tiny small.
He did a lot in the last
you know what?
last game.
To be fair, I will argue that getting rid of DeAndre Ayton for JaVale McGee would be a pretty much it wouldn't be a small net loss. But the question is, does Dallas want to take on that salary for pretty much the same player, which is a rim runner, rim protector? I don't think so. So that's what don't make this. That's what makes this trade not make sense to me. But to go against what Rick Buescher is saying is like, there is a plausible scenario with that. It's just like because you can get JaVale McGee in that trade scenario. So that's not untrue. But it's just like, do you really want to do that when you got continuity? And I think that was Phoenix's main problem. They literally did not have continuity. They literally had only 10 games with the big three, which is Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Chris Paul play together. They only had 3 games. So at some point, you got to get continuity, man. And so just shuffling the deck, I don't think that's the best way to solve the problem that is in Phoenix. Yeah. I'll drop it, Tice. I got you. OKC will make the playoffs next year with Chet rookie. I mean, listen, man, Oklahoma City, man, with Josh Giddey and goddamn the point guard, I can't think his name, athletic as shit. And then with Chet Holmgren, yeah, you know, I'm not saying that's a false scenario. Yeah, I think that they got the pieces to be a good young team. Absolutely. So we shall see. We shall see. But the question also begs, who do you knock off? And we'll see.
Jokic.
Okay, but that's
sarcasm.
I'm gonna drop the link real quick so Tice can hop in.
Let him go. He's so dominant.
If you go, I'm not.
And before I drop the link,
I'm saying if you
let me say this: if you like the product, please hit the like button. If you really like it, subscribe if you're new. And if you really, really, really like it, Super Chat is available. You can hit the Cash App. You see HJ Streams, and I'll be greatly appreciated. God damn it, let's go.
Let him go. Don't go get me another guard. Like,
Right.
Go get me another big.
But one thing y'all keep saying is about all this and that about the bench. How we know that Bradley Beal or Kyrie Irving won't go to the bench and they're okay with that? Because one thing I feel like,
man, shut your ass up. Okay, let's unpack this. Why would Kyrie Irving go to the bench when they don't have a starting point guard? Why? I think Bradley Beal is slated to make $40 million this year. Now he's not in a situation like Russell Westbrook. I know he's like hoop. Okay, Russell Westbrook did it. Russell Westbrook had no choice. He had no choice. You say Cash App not available. What? Take the what and left the what? It should be there. It said HJ Streams. It's not available. Take the what and left the what? He should be there, bro. I sent Little Big Nate a cash app yesterday. It should be working. Try it again, man. HJ streams. See what happens. If not, man, super chat is cool too. But I respect it either way. All right, so Kyrie will stay in Dallas. I think so too. Zen says Kyrie wants a supermax so he can go to the bench. See, I just don't think Kyrie is a bench guy. And if he plays for Phoenix, who's going to start point guard over him? It's no reason for him going off the bench. He's the obvious point guard. He's the obvious point guard if he goes to Phoenix. But the money don't match up. But anyway, let's keep going.
Even for the Suns to interview Kyrie Irving, they had to go through Booker. They had to go through KD. You know what? That'd be a good idea. Bring him in. So once you do that, now everything, the egos are out the window.
Oh, okay.
Because now we're
you being sarcastic. All right, bet.
I know it's only one ball. We all know that. We're all scorers. But if we want this type of player to come here, or if we want Bradley Beal to come here, which they okay, we know that we don't get the shots that we all want. And I feel like a guy like Bradley Beal, a guy like Kevin Durant, they can gel in any scheme.
I think that sounds good, 2-5, and because you've been
Shady landed the plane pretty good with that. Because yes, guys like Kevin Durant and your boy Bradley Beal can play off ball. They definitely can. And Tice, I got your cash app. Appreciate you, brother. That wasn't a bad take at the end because they have a versatile game, and with versatile players, you can make chicken salad with chicken shit, right? And not saying that Phoenix has chicken shit per se, but yeah, that definitely is the case. And so, but the problem is with Kyrie Irving. The problem is with Devin Booker. I can't say the same about those guys.
Before as a high-level athlete, everybody has an idea in their mind until they have to live out the reality of it. That's why people say, don't date your crush. Don't date your fantasy. Because it all sounds good in your head how you think it's going to go, and Shady's smirking. You're telling on yourself with that smirk. It sounds good with an idea of how you think it's going to go until you're actually in that situation, because there is only one ball. Kyrie is not going to get the shots he wants to get. Bradley Beal is one of 4 players to average 30-plus points in 2 of the last 4 seasons. So he has to get his shots. Joy's already alluded to it. Kevin Durant, he's a multiple-time scoring champion. His shots will be taken. Devin Booker is probably the best scorer currently of those 4 players. Right. So Devin Booker has to get his shots. And in theory, it's Devin Booker's team because he's been there significantly longer than anybody else. So I just think it's very convoluted. These guys think it makes sense, but to me, when you're actually living it out, everybody.
I can't get over what Shady McCoy got on, man. He looked like old buddy from Bebe's Kids. He died like about 30 years ago. What's his name? The comedian. Shady looked just like that too. A slimmer version, but you look just like him.
Here's the other part: is that there are different types of scorers. If
All right,
any of these guys were Ray Allen,
I got you,
if any of them were a catch and shoot type scorer that don't need the ball in their hands to get theirs, I would say, honestly, I had a talk with my son this morning about this, and he said, "Did you see this?" I was like, "Yeah," and I go, "It's crazy." He goes, "It doesn't make any sense." He goes,
"Robin Harris." There you go. Bam, right there.
Me that I'm with you, Shade. I just want to see it because it's so crazy. But in terms of believing that it would work, if you just gave me some guys that don't need the ball to create their shot so that they could play off of whoever the ball dominant 1 or 2 guys are, I might be able to go along with you. But I just don't see how you make that work.
Can I ask you a question? So you can't manipulate the minutes, right? Even with Luka, even with Kyrie, you see how they might have Kyrie playing a little longer with the bench to give them some offense. Yeah. So now if I have 4 of these dudes, though, not 2, but 4 of them that can score at any given time, I can't manipulate the times.
No, you can't. The minutes. Ego comes into play. All right, so I'll stop it there. Ego comes into play. No, you can't just. It's very rare you get a guy like Russell Westbrook to come off the bench. No, that's not how it goes for former MVP level players. But with that being said, Sir Tice, what's up, brother?
This is good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You good, man?
Yeah. Shout out to Rap God and Winthorpe and those guys in the chat. This is corny. And when I say it's corny, the NBA posts let me see, post season coverage in the media. This is what the reason I came up. I'm trying to give you some ideas because I think you got some good coverage and it can blow up. Brother, this is disrespectful to the Denver Nuggets. We're talking about a team that didn't even get it out the second round. Like they're, like there's some. I mean, normally we have to be inundated with your Lakers or whatever and all this, but we're excessively, and I don't mean just you today covering this, but I mean in the media every day. Newsflash, as I said, there's a salary cap. They got 3 max players already. Most people haven't even followed the new CBA rules that this doesn't even work in any way unless you're going to have a bench, like I said, unless one person takes a minimum or an exception or things like that. They can't fit all 4 of those guys. Now, you made a point about DeAndre Ayton, then I'm going to get back on the NBA in a second, but bruh, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't JaVale McGee like 55, like around my age now? I'm not 55, but I'm like, wait a minute. So I looked up before I came up, and I'm like, I know this dude has got to be in his mid-30s. And sure enough, he's 35 now, which means he'll be 36 next year. That dude is good for 10, 15 minutes tops. I would be willing to bet that's barely. I would be willing to bet if I looked up his stats in Dallas, he barely played 12 or 13 minutes a game there. I forgot he was even in the league. Yeah, and I'm making a point. I get what you're saying about Aiden and what he does. Aiden is still young and got young legs, even though he's virtually useless, and they just wasted a somewhat of a max, or he's on his rookie extension, whatever, and his rookie extension max, whatever, they wasted that on him, and they're gonna have to move him to try to get these parts. But let's keep this in mind also with KD. KD is gonna be 35 next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And KD, we all know he doesn't want, he's one of those guys, just follow me, my actions, but he don't want to lead the team anymore.
Agreed.
He just wants to, and it's going to get rougher for him, which leads to the other guys. And I've always believed, this game more at a deeper level than I do, but I can say enough about this. Ball continuity. When you have those kind of systems, somebody's going to have to take a back seat, which in my opinion minimizes the whole point of having an incredible player like that. In Miami, it was Bosh. By the time that experiment was over, Bosh was a jump shooting power forward.
Yes.
Where
he was a black Kevin Love, basically.
Exactly. Or what Kevin Love became. Right. Both of these guys were literally top. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. Both of those guys in Minnesota, Toronto, respectively, were easily top 5, top 5 NBA players.
Yes, they were 20 and 10 guys, easily.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, these are dogs, and you minimize that to whereas I like when you. Because I can't stand your Lakers or whatever, but I'm just going old school. What made that so perfect, even though, I say things were rigged in the sense still too, but you could always dump things off to Kareem. Worthy didn't always need the ball, Then you had the Jamal Wilkes, or the Norm Nixon who could get off, or in later years, the Michael Thompson, who people forget was a number 1 pick. But, this is before your time, but hey, he could sometimes go off for 15 or 20, but sometimes is laid back, and be fine with that. When you got just guys who are scorers, when KD is not a scorer, what's the point of him being on the floor?
Well,
let me replay that. Let me re-say that. Okay, you got a $45 million decoy.
Yeah,
Okay. My point. Okay, you hell. Shit, why'd you move Mikal Bridges if that's the case? And Mikal Bridges is going to give you that two-way game, And again, I'm not saying, Mikal Bridges is better than KD. What I'm saying is that the nights that Beal is going to be hot or whatever, KD, I mean, and yes, he's getting older, but come on, man, you're paying top dollar for this. But I guess
would say it's the same logic of why the 2017 Warriors were what they were.
Yeah, well, okay, the 17. Well, at least with that team, KD was in his 20s at the time. At the time, to whereas it's like I'm tired of all this crap, and I'm just gonna show y'all, and this but I mean, who to this day those guys ain't gonna say it, but they know they got the two jokers and the four aces and shit, in the deck and around NBA circles, just like around NBA circles, that 2020 championship ain't looked at as no real championship. I'm talking about around the players, around the peers. They know what the deal is. They ain't gonna say it or whatever, but just back to my main point, man.
Well, I'm gonna say this before you go.
Go ahead.
I gotta give you your own acknowledgement. So thank you, Sir Tice, for putting 10 on it. You get the dollar bill action over here. Dollar bill say money, yeah, money, yeah. Much appreciated. Let me get a comment, and then I'll let you continue.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Okay, you talk about that. Look like okay. All right, you guys talking amongst each other. Okay, yeah. So with all means, continue.
No, I thought you were gonna add into this, but okay. My angst is this. This is why the NBA is forever going to keep losing until it recognizes that it's the totality of its product that keeps its product relevant versus focusing on certain things or certain teams. Okay, it's amazing they're not creating a discussion about the Lakers, although people are like, Bruce Brown is talking about going to the Lakers. I've already seen the goofy jersey mock-ups on this, and I'm like, y'all are goofy. And by the way, whoever is the person that they commissioned to do these jersey mock-ups, they need to kill that person or people. I know it sometimes as fans, but they've just overdone it to where do you remember one year it was a jersey mock-up where they showed LeBron James in every single NBA team jersey? And I'm like, okay, this is corny as fuck. But my point is that Bruce Brown, whatever the Lakers can give, he's not going to the Lakers. He will take a short deal with Denver, or he's either going to take a big money deal somewhere else, a team that got cap money because he's like, okay, I'm tired of all these short 1 year deals, or he's going to stay with Denver. He definitely ain't going to Los Angeles and taking. They're like, Denver can only offer $7 million the first year, and LA can offer 12. Shit, that's like $6 million. In LA, and for what? When that team still got the momentum, got the matchups,
we got the juice,
and right, exactly, and right, and my thing just on the media coverage is that I've never seen in any sport in the years that I've been following sports where it's been this much focus on the non-champion teams that weren't even in remote contention. Phoenix wasn't even in remote contention. I'm talking about even when when San Antonio beat my Pistons in 2005 and Miami was trying to reload again. I want to say it was the next year that they got into Antoine Walker or whatever, and the rumors were starting that they weren't even getting as much coverage as this Phoenix thing. This is just, and my point is that what I'm getting at is that there's still an entire league. Hell, talk about the free agencies that's happening. Like, what is Milwaukee gonna do with Chris Middleton? Is Middleton gonna go? Is Jaylen Brown this? They're gonna put all 4 of these pieces in Phoenix, man. And I ain't talking about you. I ain't talking about hoop jargon. I'm talking about Chris Hayes. We got the national media talking this crap. And
Right.
lastly, man, I'm so glad I don't watch the mainstream media. Oh, this is why I'm saying this. I'm so glad I don't watch the mainstream media. This is where you guys can really take hold. This is why I brought up that OKC. Y'all can be like, hey, we've been talking about this long before the mainstream media caught on. Because people have been talking about Denver last year or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Because that thing with Shady McCoy, oh my God. I only I only came on here because I saw you, and I'm like, man, let's talk some other shit or whatever. I'm like, man, this is painful. So
Yeah.
I know I rattled off some things, but go ahead.
No, I mean and that's just the reality of like what mainstream media is, and there's a checks and balances. You know, I was on the Players Choice podcast 2 days ago, and that's like a huge channel, you know, in the YouTube streets, and I was saying like how important like streams like this are for the counterbalance, because in the subject matter we talked about was like, you know, the NBA MVP. So it's like the criteria just jumps all around damn near every year, and we know it's narrative driven. We understand that it's pageantry, right? So with that being said, it's just like these conversations help balance that. It's almost like, you know, United States government, you know, with all three branches that make things, you know, balance out allegedly. Shout out to Crown Judah. So, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. So these conversations help balance the conversation, because it's like, all right, you say this dude is a great player because X, Y, and Z, you know, as far as from a talking head standpoint, i.e., you guys like Nick Wright, you guys like Hollins and Damon Jones, and so on and so forth. They'll tell you LeBron James the best things is sliced bread. But when you start parsing through, like, okay, what are comparable things that we can like kind of parse out and say that, okay, yeah, based on this rubric, no, not even close.
That's
So
it.
that's where these conversations come into play.
And which ties into maybe you can talk about it now, the whole Nick Wright being represented by Clutch Sports thing. So you
There
want
you
to
go. Shannon Sharp.
I mean, to me, okay, no. I'm being one part serious. Actually, I'm being serious here. Okay. So in the finance world, I'm not acting like I'm a finance guy. I'm not. I just know the basics or whatever. But in the finance world, everybody knows who Dave Ramsey is. Dave Ramsey is literally being sued by millions of his followers because he gave okay, there were some companies specifically. This is easy to understand. You know, timeshares.
Yeah.
It gets you out of your timeshare, right? And by the way, anybody in the audience, please don't get in a timeshare. It's not worth.
The worst hustle ever.
Right. It's not worth it's not worth that $100 or $300 vacation or gas card or whatever. Trust me, it's not. But I'll tell you this, Hoop, those salesmen are better than you. You know, because they, whatever their objective handling is, they've heard it all. But no, in all seriousness, Dave Ramsey was low key recommending this company or what have you that gets you out of your timeshare, but he never divulged that he's a part of this company, and this company is now out of business, and these people are like, wait a minute, we only went to it because this guy, you know, because he's the guy who says no debt, right? But you're supposed, but as you know, in most financial things, you're supposed to disclose, I am a paid spokesperson for this. Which, okay, so what the hell does that got to do with sports coverage? So, in my opinion, and this is where you guys come in, I wish you guys could pressure these guys. Like, okay, when Nick Wright thing comes in on the bottom line, when it says Nick Wright, then he goes into basketball, take paid spokesperson by Clutch Sports, you know, like your banner at the bottom goes or whatever, to where it's like, okay, here comes an extremely biased take, and people act like, man, it's just entertainment and all this. No, it's not just entertainment. As you just said, this is how narratives get created. Many people ain't gonna go like, dude, just before I was going to sleep, you know what I was about to do? I was about to watch an old finals game from the 90s because I wanted to. Okay, I'll be specific. No, I don't want to take too much, but I'll just say this. It's a great video out about Rodman, right? And how smart he was. It's got Isaiah, basketball wise, of course. You know?
Yeah.
And it's got Isaiah, it's got Jordan, it's got Pippen. And there's one point where Jordan is like, hey, Dennis, let me know when you see Oakley give me that back screen or whatever. And I'm looking at the black jerseys and I'm like, oh shit. That's 1996. I just vividly remember because that was the year they first premiered those black jerseys, right?
Yeah,
I said, I'm gonna, right, yep, you remember them, yep. And I said, I'm gonna actually watch that game and see if I see this back screen. And then he was like, "What? Do you want me to hold him? Because I can just take Houston or whatever, I'll offer you or whatever, right?" And I'm like, "Shit!" And this is just them on the bench talking, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like a little community. I'm like, man, let me see if I can find that. My point is that just like how we talking about these little subtleties of the game, man, you can school the fans on so many things that they don't even know or whatever. But these guys who just spit out narrative, you know, the same old stories, you know, what is the Lakers gonna do? It taints the coverage.
Fodder, man. It's fodder.
Right. It taints the coverage to whereas I never thought that would come to the day that I would stop watching ESPN or any sports channel, but I don't have to watch it anymore because right.
Okay, so let me inject this. Yes, I don't watch ESPN damn near at all. YouTube is my muse. Like guys like Dreamers Pro, guys like FYF Sports, so on and so forth. I mean, even actually, I don't watch myself. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but this is like the new counterbalance. This is the new real sports when you can just parse through the partnerships. Because listen, Clutch Sports don't pay me nothing. Kevin Durant team don't pay me nothing. As a matter of fact, man, and again, I gotta give FYF Sports another shout out. I was on a panel with Gilbert Arenas 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And Gil was talking about how like you rank NBA the best scorers. And the week before that, and it was me and Lamont, who the curator of FYF Sports, we were saying like y'all are too harsh on Carmelo Anthony. And not from a full basketball player, he deserved all the smoke. But from a scorer, that dude is one of the best scorers that touched the basketball. And you need to know
I'll agree.
Because he scores, and Gil introduced a concept called being a 4-level scorer.
Wow.
And so and that's what Carmelo was. Because I watched Carmelo play when I was in high school. Me and him are the same exact age. I watched Carmelo play in this high school tournament in Houston. That's where I'm from. I watched him play. I watched him destroy Hassan Whiteside. No, Hassan Adams. And Hassan Adams went to NBA as well.
Hassan Adams was a 2003 draft, the same draft with
Melo.
LeBron and all of them. Yeah,
yes.
It was Hassan.
He's a great player.
Actually, I remember it was a Hassan Adams, Ray Felton, LeBron James. They were all like the top prospects.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think Marvin Williams was in that ilk as well. But
wow, I forgot North Carolina.
Yeah, bro. And I watched Melo again. Me being the same age, I'm 6'7" in real life. I mean, you've seen me in person a few times. When I saw Melo, I'm like, fuck. I'm probably not going to NBA. So Melo was that type of good, and everybody who speaks about him speaks him in a bloviating fashion. So long story short, in the conversation, people was like, "Oh well, he's so inefficient. He just ain't." I'm like, okay, take those Nick Wright talking points out of it. The fact that this dude could give you everything you want from a triple threat standpoint, on the basket standpoint, from a deep standpoint, from an off the ball standpoint, he can give you everything you want and more. So, and Gil came on there. He was just like, people understand like Melo was one of the hardest person to guard, and Gil just basically cemented what me and Lamont were saying earlier is just like, I get why y'all saying that he's inefficient and y'all are bringing up stats and all this shit. But when we actually in those trenches, a shout out to my favorite player, Kobe Bryant. He was like saying, and I'm gonna back up a little bit, but I'm gonna land the plane properly. He played against Lil Bow Wow's homeboy. And Lil Bow Wow's homeboy is 6'6", so around the same size as Kobe Bryant. And he was like, and he destroyed him. And the dude was like, man, why you gotta keep posting me up? He's like, cause it's easy. And he was like, it's one thing when you watch the lion from the vantage point, but when you're in the cage with the lion, it's a whole different experience.
Great analogy.
That's what Kobe Bryant said to that dude. He's like, basically in short verse, you can't fuck with me, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you why you can't fuck with me, right? So Melo he had that level of respect from his peers. Melo, T-Mac, Kobe, they're like, man, that's a hard cover every night, right? So you can bring up the inefficiency, and I'll acknowledge that.
I've never looked up his I can't think of what his field. Okay, let me say this. By the way, he should have been a 2004 Rookie of the Year. Okay,
yeah. Over LeBron, yes. Or at least co-rookie of the year.
And let me be clear, because he I think Denver made the playoffs that year too. And
yes, they did.
Yeah. You said a very important point is 2 points here. This is why these things are important. I'm not kissing your ass. What I'm saying is how this is why these things are important to get the word out, because the difference between sports coverage. Okay, I've been following sports since the late. I'm really dating myself here, but okay, I used to have a Sports Illustrated subscription as a third grader. That's a certification. Okay, so but that was the way you got your sports or whatever.
Absolutely,
right?
That's the only way you got your sports.
And that inside sports, and then plus, then okay. Anyways, I've been following sports coverage for years. What I think has happened, and the reason that Melo doesn't get his props that he deserves as his skill set. Let me say this, because I'm not a fan of his, but I respect his skill, okay? But I'm not a fan more of because I thought I didn't like the way he left Denver and this, and that or what have you. And I get it. We're in the modern era where guys don't want to play. They want to play, they want to play the big market, but fine. You got to go answer that bell, and you didn't answer it in New York or what have you. So you're going to live with that,
Absolutely.
But here's the thing: that dude can score, like you said, in a multitude of ways. And then I saw recently some of the drills he did. And I'm like, damn, I forget how skilled this guy was. But let's just go back to the coverage, and then I'll weave it into Gil, and then I'll pass you the mic, but I'll be brief.
Right.
The coverage is very important because back in those days with, like I said, they would talk about the sports. They would add some history into it, but they would talk about it. But I guess that got boring to getting the casual to watch. So how do you get the casual to watch? Oh, you reduce everything down to championships and rings. And now look, every stupid evaluation of a fucking player is a ring. Some dude was telling me Karl Malone was all right. Look, I'm not a fan of Karl Malone. I think he's probably a horrible human being, with his personal life.
But the basketball is the basketball.
To say that this guy was come on. And I'm like, come on, dog. And then I was explaining to somebody about Stockton. I'm like, dude, do you know that Stockton played with 4, maybe 5 separate eras of point guards and was still handling them, from Gilbert Arenas all the way down to Ricky Green and Isaiah Thomas and everybody in between? It's Ricky Green whose spot he took. That's the only reason I know that or whatever, right? No, what I'm saying is that, to come from 84 to where you facing Magic, Isaiah, then to get into the Gary Paytons and the Jason Kidds, then to get into the Iversons and then to get into the Gilbert Arenases and the whoever of the 2002s, 2003s point guards. I'm trying to think. The Gilbert Arenas. I mean, Jason Kidd was by
Steve
then.
Francis,
Steve, thank you. The Steve Francis.
Yeah.
I mean, and this guy is still as efficient as he was.
Yeah, it's impressive.
To
it's
say,
impressive.
but to now see, I can lay it down like that, but he ain't got no rings. So, I mean, but and that's how cats will look at it.
Yeah.
And that's how we've dumbed down. I mean, dude, you're from fucking Houston. You literally got people campaigning for Robert Horry to have a fucking Hall of Fame jacket.
Listen, and let me say this. Robert Horry is one of my favorite players of all time. But one thing I don't do, I don't lie on people's career. I don't care if I like you or not. Robert Horry has no all-star appearances. This dude has no all-NBAs. He has nothing. He's just, a spark plug in the engine that is a championship team.
He had 2 years. He had 2 years. He was a starter. Y'all, you forget. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're still in 7th grade sucking on your thumb or whatever, that he got traded by y'all. Am I lying?
No,
we was in Houston. Y'all traded him for Sean Elliott. I mean, I know you're probably sucking your thumb then, whatever, but y'all traded him. And you know what? And he sat on my Pistons bench. And guess what happened? Elliott failed the fucking physical. And they rescinded the trade. And then that's when the Clyde Drexler trade happened. And, and from as a 6th seed, y'all won. One of the greatest championship runs I've ever seen in my life,
Absolutely.
But listen, I like Robert Horry, man, as a person and all this. But when you're known just as much as for the Sacramento tip, the shot over sheet, or my all-time favorite, the towel toss at Danny Ainge.
Oh, Danny Ainge.
That's not a Hall of Fame career. But hey, okay. Oh, Steve Kerr. Well, when you combine his coaching, no, put him in as a coach, but not as a motherfucking player. Come on, dog. Yeah. We cannot reduce things. And then moving on, not to move on from basketball, but I'm saying in football, where it's 10 times more complicated for a single player to have an impact. I saw something on Edgerrin James, man, recently. It was like one of those NFL, what do you call it? Where they do the on NFL channel where they do the
like a series or something.
Yeah, they do it. It's an episode where they do it all on the person's career. Man, it'll hit me or whatever. But I was in a bar and I was watching it. I couldn't even listen to it. And I'm like, shit, I forgot that when Edgerrin came to Arizona, they were in the damn Super Bowl. You forget how good this guy was or whatever, all throughout his career, But my point is that a single guy, obviously that team had Larry Fitzgerald and, Kurt Warner and all this or whatever. But my point is that
a bevy of talent.
Right. People try to reduce people. Oh, he wasn't, he just got a ring. But the Nick Wrights, represented by Clutch Sports, I always want that to be known, because you're pushing their narrative. And, and this is why it's so bad, man. This is why, like you said, you described it beautifully when you said Kyle Hurd. He's been around enough. He knows how to go through the motions. He knows the points of the season, the point to. Because I remember, I said, why am I listening to this guy when he says he doesn't even watch the games, and then his interns gives him the notes, and and you could tell, just going back to Shady McCoy, you could tell somebody was in his ear.
Absolutely, his face told you everything. And I've seen Damon Jones do the same thing about the GOAT conversation. Like he got flummoxed, at the point of like, okay, do you really believe this? And he gave that little Cheshire cat grin, like, all right, you got me.
We got to give Damon Jones a pass in that, because Damon Jones knows if he goes against his daddy, his friend, LeBron James, that his access card is all cut off.
Sure, because who bench was he on this year?
I
The
heard
Lakers
he
bench.
was on the Lakers.
Oh,
It's,
absolutely.
it's funny you say that. I was watching the sideline, and I'm like, because he's gotten a little bit bigger now, or whatever. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. He's a fat boy now.
yeah, and I'm like, I mean, he's catching up with Eric Snow and shit, fat boy. Yeah, I saw. I'm like, nah, and I'll be sometimes watching with my iPad. I'm like, no, he's not on the Lakers bench. But I'm like, I know my odds because Damon Jones played for the Pistons. He played for the Pistons actually the year before we got Chauncey. Okay. Yeah, man. So and that's how I got from Ben. He was actually pretty good, then I get that he moved to Sacramento, I want to say at the time. And then he ended up with Cleveland with his best friend, and how he keeps his access now. And then again, I get it. Those guys ain't gonna mess up their bag, I would hate as a man to be a professional athlete that you're still dependent on another man. But but as we're just talking about with this media coverage, man, it's hell. Look at your boy Stephen A. At least give Stephen A. this credit. I will give him this credit. He finally started that podcast, and he's talking about different things, trying to show his well-roundedness
on his own, like Whitlock does, basically.
It's
scale, but yes.
No, yeah. What's crazy is that with and by the way, so let me ask you this: have you heard any insight in the industry, like with these gambling companies that, like, apparently Shannon is supposed to be going to one of these gambling companies, or have you heard anything about that?
Or supposed to be going to God damn it, DraftKings.
But DraftKings are gonna have their own shows, and then they're gonna
he's gonna be a Black Pack McAfee, and that's how McAfee got on.
Speaking of McAfee, didn't McAfee originally start at ESPN, then or he went from the NFL straight to doing podcasts?
No, it's his first go round with NFL. You know what? I watched Pat McAfee when I covered the NFL draft out here in LA 2 years ago. Well, a year ago. And let me put it this way. In this whole little complex, I had FS1, CBS, ESPN, all those things had their little spots.
Like Radio Row.
Radio Row is what I'm speaking about. Pat McAfee had that shit hopping like nobody else, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. He had people, like random people, coming there to like be a part of the show, and they were so engaged, it was not even funny. And in Radio Row, it's just pretty much just everybody just kind of commingling, and then the athletes come and, come sit down with me for 10, 15 minutes, whatever. Like, Pat McAfee had an experience there. And so I didn't know who he was at the time, but he got my respect. So yeah, he's that kind of guy.
So as an NFL punter, he's got to connect. And then he's figured out we got to do something different to stand out. I've been to plenty of those like Radio Rows and things, and I can respect it. You know that a lot of his fans are calling him a big. I haven't seen him since he's been on ESPN. Again, I don't watch it or whatever. A lot of his fans have said he's sold out and all that stuff, I mean,
and the reason have not mentality. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, okay. I look at it in two ways. He was already making $100 million.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, what is it that you think that Disney can give you that? Because you know how it is. You go to corporate America, now you got to play by their rules. You can't hold it. In other words, it's kind of like what I would love to see Stephen A. Smith do. I would love to see Stephen A. Smith say, "Fuck you, ESPN, I'm out." And that would completely change. Now, by the way, he's not gonna do that because he doesn't want to give up. He's got enough of a profile that, I also think he's too connected to do that or whatever, you know what I mean, on the Chronicles of Judah thing or whatever, he's a part of that Boulay class in the sense of that. But but let's just hypothetically say and by the way, these are the opinions of Sir Tice, not the Hoop Jargon channel or any of these.
Well, I'm Boulay because I'm a member.
Right.
I'm a card carrying member. I ain't fake. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay, these are my opinions. I think that Stephen A. I would love. Okay, let me just say it like this. I would love to see a
That's my
big
shingle.
name. I would love to see a big name do it independently. And because they're so connected, you
But
can't
that's not how
just
it worked, though, Tice. You know what time it is, bro.
yeah. No, what I'm saying though, you can't turn down Stephen A if you're in the NBA, even if he was independent. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't deny him a credential.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's say this. I'm gonna put this in your mind. Make room for the fact that Pat McAfee understands that he can be the new Stephen A. Smith. Now, he may not foresee it on his own for whatever conversations he has, you know, with the small hats and all, you know, all that. But the trajectory he has, again, I didn't know who this dude was. I saw how he has a strong grasp on the 25 to like 40-year-old, you know, white American male. That's dangerous.
I don't disagree with you. Let me just add briefly. I'll be brief.
Okay.
Here's who's going to be dangerous in the next 5-10 years, if you want my personal opinion. I can't say who. I don't know. I've not watched enough of McAfee to really know what he knows. But you get a person that knows the 3 sports, and they know a little hockey, and they know a little golf. And, you know, in other words, we need back those guys that can really add on, you know, so they're not sound like Shady McCoy, for instance, right? Okay, now, here's what makes Stephen A. a little bit more deadly than most guys. Stephen A. does know a little boxing, right? So on those big events that have happened in the past, you know, Mayweather, Pacquiao, and all those things, whatever, right? He was very not, well, he's not Max Kellerman, but he knew enough about boxing. And by the way, he don't know, he doesn't have me by a 10th or whatever, you know, but he knew enough about boxing to where it's like, man, he's an ESPN guy. We got to bring him in, and he's got a big mouth in a sense. And I'm not making it just strictly about boxing. What I'm saying is that these golf sports, dude, it's plenty of guys who I know who are golf fanatics, and they are looking for somebody, you know, I'm talking about even the younger guys like me. I don't like golf. I really don't. I mean, I'm talking about, I've gone to the range.
I'm indifferent.
Right. You know, but I understand it. Okay, case in point. You know who's one of the best broadcasters? You probably don't watch him or familiar with him. Are you familiar with Chris Mad Dog Russo?
Yeah. Old school.
Man,
old school guy.
Man, that guy, I don't know what the fuck he doesn't know. You know?
No, he knows everything. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got it covered. You get a young guy. Listen, if Nick Wright knew a 10th, oh my God, he'd be killing the game or what have you, you know. But we don't have those guys anymore. More guys are just specialists right now. And like yesterday, not to change the topic, but I posted in your group, it was a perfect game from the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
From the Yankees.
And no coverage.
And no coverage. I'm in my head like, wait a minute. I've seen 2 perfect games in my damn life. You know? Maybe 3, you know, and no, that's something that, and then you got this, the dude who's damn near about your height or whatever, that dude on the Reds right now, who, LA De La Cruz,
whatever the fuck his name is.
De La Cruz, man, dude, I'm telling you,
Cancun, Mexico, whatever his name is.
If you LA De La Cruz, man, if you're ever near a TV, his bats are must-see TV. I'm dead serious, man. You know, and because they got the time clock in baseball now too, baseball, you know, it's pretty cool. But my point is that it's a lot of exciting things going on, and it's not getting covered, and there's a void. And the only reason I know about it is just I'm interested in these things, and it just comes across my radars.
Right. It's not properly covered. And again, Pat McAfee, from what I saw, again, from a dude who I had no clue who this dude was. When I saw how he galvanized those people, when I see guys like Rob Parker just walk around, Chris Broussard just walk around, Michael Irvin just walk around, just not really a lot of attention, Barry Sanders just walk around. When Pat McAfee got on stage and the lights went on, I saw dudes just like going nuts over this dude. And I was just like, who the fuck is this dude?
But do you think that like kind of what made Stephen A appeal to it is that he's into it, Whereas those guys, no diss to the Barry Sanders and the Michael Irvins and whatever, but and by the way, Rob Parker's could be that. Well, Rob Parker's an
I
outlier.
love Rob Parker personally.
Yeah, I do too. Rob Parker, and Rob Parker's a baseball guy too. So I want to say he's got a Hall of Fame vote if I'm not mistaken.
I almost got him too, bro. He gave me that homeboy like look. And I was going to ask him about that James Harden trade. That's when he went to Philly, and I just gasped.
Let's bring it back to basketball. Man. So another story that's floating on your group. He's gonna of course he's gonna sign his fucking extension. Who does this motherfucker think somebody else is gonna give him $35 million guarantee?
It's posturing.
Right? Like, of course he's gonna sign his extension, but they're looking to trade him. And I'm like, okay, so I put up a proposal. I put up 3 or 4 teams. The team that they're talking about New York and whatever. That even if that's possible, which it is, they don't have a chance to win. If the Clippers, the way I look at these trades is I look at it like, what would the other team receive back? And obviously, I'm looking at it from like a direct trade and some parts versus the 3-team things. That's a little bit too difficult for me. But the Clippers maybe do. Okay, I think the Clippers have to break up.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Okay, all right.
The 3-year experiment is over.
All right. I'll end on this one with my beloved Pistons. So you've heard not that you care, but you've heard the scuttle that they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at Cam Johnson, because Cam Johnson from Brooklyn, who was with Phoenix previously, 6'7" wing guy, can shoot and can defend. And Brooklyn is already in the salary cap, and what they're talking about, they're gonna go, but because it's Detroit, they have to overpay.
Of course.
But he has a relationship with Monty Williams. But what they're gonna do, which I think is smart, is that Brooklyn can match it because it's unrestricted. But if Detroit did what y'all did with Jeremy Lin, if you remember that, New York did match the total deal, but Houston front loaded the deal so that New York, I'm talking when Linsanity was happening, the first year salaries, they couldn't match that because the salary cap is configured, yearly versus your term. You see what I'm saying? So it's like they do it in football. So that's what the Pistons may do with Cam Johnson. Now, I don't know how familiar we are with Cade Cunningham or Jay,
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay. I still think we're still in our infancy, but them.
Y'all been there for like a decade.
You said a decade. Well, I'll put a bet on you that we'll be better than Houston this year. How about that? You're like, that ain't saying much. Okay. All right,
I don't like the Rockets, but I think the Rockets got a really good nucleus. I think in 3 years, them guys will be really good.
Yeah. All right. So I'll figure out the terms of this or what have you. But
listen, I ain't came for the Rockets. I denounced my fanship in 2010.
Damn.
And I ain't looking back.
Damn, you know, denouncing things. I will say this. I saw that John Collins got moved, which was bound to happen. I'm surprised they didn't move Trae Young yet in Atlanta, to be honest with you, but they're obviously going to stick with him. I think Brandon Ingram and or Chris Middleton will be moved from one of their teams. I don't know. Yeah, and lastly, as I said, OKC, look out what Sam Presti has done. And people forget, dude, when you got 4 players in double figures, Williams, Giddey, obviously SGA, and who else am I forgetting? I'm forgetting the other, Dort. I want to say Dort. And now Holmgren is coming back, and they will probably, I can't think of what vet they need or what have you, but that team is a nice young team.
Absolutely.
That, and I can't think of who the coach name is, you know, and I think also Cat is done in Minnesota.
Cat just sucks to me. I just.
Oh, you don't even like Cat.
he sucks, and not in the sense that he can't play basketball. It's just.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, just a bullshit ass superstar, and I'm good on Cat. Like he ain't got the stuff, man.
Damn, you're just like I'm just good on him. He's
Yeah.
fine. What I hate is that Anthony Edwards, it's like because that's my second favorite team or whatever. It's only because I live there and I follow, I like that underdog thing. But
Yeah.
it's like, damn, y'all couldn't do it with Wiggins. You couldn't do it with Butler. Now you couldn't do it with, and obviously this Rudy Gay experiment was horrible. That didn't work. But yeah, those are my NBA thoughts. So
No, and all those were solid. It's just like with the NBA climate and the scale, the sucker free shit stays sucker free. You know what I'm saying? And the people who are the ballers, the hoopers, they always, generally, get to the top. And as we go through, people who play ball the right way, they're always gonna have my endorsement.
We forgot one. We forgot one person.
Where
does Damian Lillard go? Or
he's leaving because Scoot got drafted. Damn, I say LA or Miami.
I think it's more Miami. That might. Guys don't want to say it because I think he's got a lot of power in the league still, but I don't think nobody wants to play with this lad LeBron still.
I don't think so either.
Oh, I saw that. Not Rui. Who's Malik? Yeah,
Beasley.
Beasley is. They didn't re-sign him.
Nope.
And Rui, and I'm like, I think Rui is fool's gold. As good as of a playoffs as he had, a lot of those he was just.
Didn't you tell me I was wrong about Rui?
Well, you were wrong in the way he was playing, but yeah, I think you're overall right as far as long term.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just an all right guy. All right.
No. You're in that. I'm like a lot of those. He was just wide open.
Yeah, the dude was. Listen, what I'm saying. So let me juxtapose it this way: when your boy Andrew Iguodala won the Finals MVP, I'm just like, he just open. Like, why he over Steph? Steph was the best player in that series, but Andre had the biggest moments because he's freaking wide open. What the hell?
Yeah, I was saying that Golden State should make him their new mascot. I mean, dude, it's like you want to talk about. It's like, and by the way, and Draymond. Okay, I get why Draymond may have opted out, but Golden State has got to say, "Look,
man,
welcome you back, but we ain't giving you this money."
I'm gonna say it for you. Hey man, don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split.
Oh, thank you.
And listen, I love Draymond Green. I do. But the juice ain't worth the squeeze no more. Draymond Green can't hit the open 3-point no more. He's slower.
Yep.
His attitude basically attributes to that juice, not the word, the squeeze, sentiment. And it's just like, dog, you gotta evolve past that. And now I would say this too with Klay Thompson, it damn near ain't worth a squeeze either. But Klay Thompson is a conformist. He's a guy who is going to buy into the product. He's not going to be a malcontent. And I said this too, man, before Jordan Poole got moved. I was like, Golden State got to figure out what the hell they want to do. Like, they got to cut some teeth. And because Jordan Poole feels he's bigger than the program. And I think that's why Draymond Green punched the shit out of his ass, right? So I think Golden State has figured out that they have to make sharp moves. And I'm with the moves. And now I think Klay is just so loyal, and I think he's going to play nice. He won't go anywhere. But Draymond bought out, with the Clutch Sports things, going back to what we talked about when you first joined the stream. Let him go do that. Let him go do his Clutch Sports thing. Go do it, bro.
Good point. I was gonna say something about I'll save that for another show. Mike Dunleavy Jr. already being in the motherfucking front office, and I'm just in my head like
nepotism at its finest, goddamn it.
Like what the fuck? But on one hand, I'm mad at the nepotisms, and then on one hand, I'm not mad at it. But I'm also like, when I see a lot of ex-players who have the I don't know. I've heard that as hell. What am I saying? I heard Malik told you on your own show, whatever. It's like, look, when you're in the NBA, that's the time to make your moves and make your contacts. Because when you're out of the NBA, nobody gives a shit about you, you know. And he made it, you know. So Malik did the right thing, you know. So I think it goes. I guess what I'm getting at is that I want to see more brothers make I'll say it like this: make opportunities like that. Like who would have thought Calvin Booth would have been the championship winning general manager? You know, okay,
Calvin Booth,
right?
Man, Mr. Funny jump shot himself.
I know, you know, and I want to say Purdue. I don't know. It was some or Pitt. I forget his college. But my point is, but then again, Malik is doing similar to what Dunleavy's doing. Now, obviously, Dunleavy got a push from his dad in a sense, you know. But damn, in Golden State. But back to this whole Draymond, it was something else. I mean, is this Chris Paul thing real, or is he still officially on the Wizards? Okay, he's at least on the Wizards. I can't believe that he's gonna be on Golden State. That's just too hard for me to believe.
Well, you're gonna be there, buddy.
Wow. Either it's gonna be some kind of buyout. Oh, wow. You're gonna have this 38-year-old guy who can't defend worth shit anymore. No, I'm just calling it what it is. He's Chris Paul, and it was somebody else I was thinking. It was somebody else who many players in many circles are like, they really do not like this guy, and he wears thin on you after a while or whatever. And I can't think of the other player it was, man. But how that's going to work in Golden State is just going to be worth watching in itself. Because he's going to have to come off the bench.
Chris Paul, bro. I think Chris Paul is going to, again, the Sean Livingston scenario comes to mind. Leandro Barbosa. I think he's gonna acquiesce to that because he's old.
That's what I'm saying. I guess. Damn. I mean, no. Let's be honest. Chris Paul. Okay, superstar is not pushing it. Chris Paul was a fucking star. We ain't talking about a person who had a couple good seasons and we ain't talking about a Gilbert Arenas type of player or whatever. Okay, we're talking about a guy who is pretty much a Hall of Famer. I'll give him his props.
Yeah, sure.
And for it to come down to this point, like, damn, this is crazy.
Well, Tyson, I'll say it this way: LeBron ain't so far from this either.
Oh, so.
They're about the same age. They both came out 03, right?
Well, he came out a year after, but yeah.
Well, year 04, okay. But dude, it's at the end of the road, and people that's why I'm saying I want to get as a Laker fan, I want to get rid of LeBron James, man.
Oh,
and so to Rap God's comment about Bryce, and I want to ask your opinion about Bronny. What do you see going forward with Bronny's trajectory and where he'll land and things of that nature?
I don't follow. Look, this is maybe the hater in me in a sense, and I'll admit it or whatever. I don't follow that little bastard. I mean, I shouldn't even call him a little, but he hasn't done nothing to me. But I mean, he's not a top project that I need to be focused. I mean, if his name wasn't James, we wouldn't even be talking about him. And this is from what I've heard of many people who actually follow that stuff. But they're going to do whatever is possible to get him in the league, and I get it. He'll probably do a one and done. At this point, okay, can I say this? And then I'll really have to go to sleep.
All right.
I think that the NBA is, more than the NFL and baseball, the NBA is really about narrative. Yes. Do they fix results? Not necessarily, but they will craft your storyline to focus the attention on you a lot or whatever, to whereas, maybe the refs will feel the pressure. You get what I'm getting at or whatever. Okay, I'm just saying this. Man, I think with Denver winning and the ratings not being nowhere near as bad as speculated, and they actually weren't bad at all for the finals,
it's going to be more sucker free.
yeah, the NBA has said, you know what? We can finally move off of this LeBron shit.
Yeah.
Plus, we got a global audience or whatever as we're getting, and with this, with Jokic and Denver and all this, right? Exactly. Okay, and that too. I think the NBA is literally saying it's time for us to move off of this shit. Look at what's happened. We're already hated because we're already in bed with China. Let's not look. And LeBron. Yeah, they played Denver tough, but they had to play their asses off. And if you saw in most of those games, from what I could remember, it's like Denver would take a quarter off, and the game would get close, and then boom, before you know it, Denver just just takes off to where it's just like I'll give what's his name? I can't think of the guy that used to play for University of Michigan, Kobe's former agent, their GM right now. Whatever his name is, the GM of the Lakers. I give him a lot of credit.
Rob Pelinka.
Thank you. I give them a lot of credit in that the D'Angelo, who I think is forever a sucker. Yeah, I know, but
hey, he earned his reputation.
Right. But D'Angelo, Beasley, even Rui, man, they did in those moves. They showed up, but they kind of what do you call it? Is it you overplayed? I can't.
You overachieved.
Oh, thank you. There it is. That's exactly what I said. They really overachieved these playoffs, and then when you factor in they got swept, it really speaks. And LeBron can't play hard. I mean, the human body can't do it, and Father Time is caught up. So that's just my take there. And then with the Bronny thing, I don't know. What do you think? I would more defer to you. I mean, I don't even know what position he plays.
I got you. He's like a hybrid 1-2 guard. I don't think he's very good in my opinion. I watched him play.
This is your educated basketball opinion, right?
Right. Yeah. So I watched him play with Sierra Canyon played against Duncanville High School in Dallas right before I moved to LA. This was 2019, December 2019. Let me give Bronny his props. He was only a freshman. So watching him play and watching D Wade's son was on the team at the time. I like D Wade's son sucks. My first video that went quasi viral when I talked about how D Wade's son sucks. And look at my channel, January of 2020. I was like, no, he ain't good. Sorry, he can't hoop. And
now this is you. This is you having played at that level and coached it.
Right. I'm like, no. And that shit aged like fine wine. And some people was like, oh, you just hate on the kid. Like, why am I hating on the kid? Like, no, he sucks. like he can't hoop. So I was like, Bronny is better than him, but Bronny can go. But he ain't what people trying to say. Now, Bryce, to Rap God's comment, Bryce gonna be that dude, in my opinion.
Bryce is the younger son?
The younger one. Oh, yeah.
All right, well, let me ask you a different question, not necessarily about them.
Dante S. Good to see you, brother.
What's a guy who you saw at 9th grade that either wasn't good, but you saw potential in that just completely turned it around or whatever that became something? Can you think of anybody?
A freshman I saw potential in. That's a hard question because you got to watch a lot of basketball to see a freshman be somebody. So I guess I would say
how about a high schooler? I'll make it easier.
Okay. A high schooler who I was like, they're gonna be somebody. Now, this has to be from like what I played against, or just from a older guy perspective.
Could be both, but not. Don't say nobody like Carmelo or any. I'm just saying.
I'll give you one. I got you. So a guy I played against, his name is Cartier Martin. Cartier Martin,
familiar.
He played for the Pistons. He played for somebody else. I played against him about 7-8 times as a high schooler. That dude was like one of the hardest persons I've guarded in my life. And I say that having to have to guard PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, I say this all the time. didn't really have a bag like that. He was an easy guy to cover. Cartier, 6'7", long arms from the door to the goddamn window. He just could do everything. He could do everything. So he's a year younger than me. I was like, something about this dude is special. And to juxtapose it, I compare him to a guy named Indy Eby. Indy Eby was drafted one pick before Kendrick Perkins.
Indy Eby played on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm very familiar with this.
He went to Westbrook High School out in Houston. He was the second worst NBA player I played against in my life. I was just like, this dude asked me. But when I compare, like, because when I play EB, I'm like, this dude easy to hold. Cartier, it was a headache every time. It was a headache every time. So I guess I would put my stamp of approval on Cartier Martin as far as a guy I played.
Okay, so the reason I asked, okay, so even though maybe different positions, is what's his name? Bronny?
Yep.
Who's better as a high schooler, even as a senior? Cartier Martin was than Bronny?
I would say Bronny by far. I mean, Cartier went to like Kansas State, so he didn't have like a great ballyhoo career per se. But as far as a prospect, I mean, again, Cartier being 6'7", 6'8", long limbs, athletic as hell. He's as we parse things out, as far as natural ability, Cartier is a better player. Now, Bronny, he has the pedigree though. He has the father that can promote him to.
Okay, I'm not being a dick and interrupt you. I don't mean that. Okay, well, let me offer my take in on this.
Right.
I'm speculating here because I have not seen him play, and he could prove me wrong, but I've seen a lot of this in different sports, in tennis and boxing, sports that I know. Shane Mosley has a son. Did you know that? His son is 31 years old. Yeah, see what I mean? And he has about 17 fights. He has about one loss or whatever. But yeah, you're like, hey, he's got a 31-year-old. Yeah. Time flies. Forget the skills for a second. There's a lot of mental pressure. As much as I do not like LeBron James, he answered a lot of his pressure coming. I don't mean in the pros. I just mean just getting there and just being focused, And I mean, because his mother wasn't in his life. Yeah, well, you know what I mean when I say
no.
Oh,
his mother was his mother was in a situation where she was breaking his house. She was doing all this felonious stuff.
That's what I mean.
He actually took a lot of time for food dealing with her shit.
Oh, that's what I mean. When I say wasn't in his life, I literally mean, like, I don't mean like, oh, she wasn't there. I mean, he had to rely on other he had to rely on other people to live with. Here. I'm not getting into his hard luck story. I'm saying it's like, because I remember, I'm like, that ain't no damn high school. And yeah, I'm like, okay, Kobe and KG are anomalies or whatever, blah, 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 right? We saw, what's his name, Corleone Young or whatever. We saw Jonathan Bender and all this, LeBron answered the bell mentally, all right? His son, who's had the best things in life, that's a different kind of mental grind, and and plus he moved him out to LA 4 years ago when he was a freshman. Man, okay, what is this doing? Go ahead.
Okay. Robert Dillingham.
Robert Dillinger?
We got a strong.
Oh yeah, I'll go off.
Okay. Yeah, Robert Dillingham. I had one of my sources put me on Robert Dillingham like 2 years ago. And now he's that guy. I was talking about he played at Donda Prep out here in California, and his dad reached out to me a year and a half ago, and I've had like intimate conversation with him about just what he felt was Kanye, well, not Kanye, but one of the handlers snatched him away because he played under your boy Jeff McGinnis, who played for North Carolina. He left that school and went over to Donda Prep, and now he's of age now, and now Robert Dillingham is going to be a guy. So as I'm thinking, as I'm talking, that's definitely a kid to watch out for, Robert Dillingham. And I'm going to try to reach back out to his father. Let me see if I still got his number. Just say I know I'm not.
While you're looking for his number, I mean, I don't think I'm not minimizing what knowledge you can bring, but I'm sure when you give these kids knowledge, I mean, you may give them a little thing here or there physically or whatever, but I'm sure it's more on the mental aspect and the approach, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I mean, it's approach and all those things. But just so I'm not capped. Oh shit!
We believe you.
I got to show the seats. I got to. I'm gonna cover the number up. Donald Dillingham is his dad's name, and that's Robert Dillingham's father. So I'm gonna reach out to him, and hopefully I can get some conversation with him. But yeah, man, like.
And go back to my original point.
Man, he's good to go.
Go back to my original point.
All right.
Bronny James. Okay, what do you give the kid that has everything? That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. Okay, because he don't want to be a Navy SEAL. He don't want to learn to be bilingual. No, I'm just saying, he's not learning how to fly a helicopter.
Education is not the factor.
Huh?
Education is not the factor.
I'm not. You know what I'm saying is that when you have to the kid who has everything, shit, I want you to be a well-rounded ass kid. I'm not saying he's not a well-rounded kid. What I'm getting at is that, okay, when the battling gets tough, because that's the difference. What is he going to cling to? Jordan, you ever see the story with Eric Gordon schooling Jordan's sons in front of Jordan? You ever heard that story?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, yeah, you need to look it up or what have you. But Eric Gordon was a top prospect along with Jordan and his sons, right? And of course, Jordan put his sons, when they had the rankings and all that, and it was Jordan's tournament, that McDonald's tournament, and Eric Gordon went against him, and Jordan was there, and he schooled them. He hit like 40 against both of them in front of Mike and shit. Yeah, but and that was probably the moment where there's like, shit, we don't have the fight that our father has and shit. But why should they? Shit. A lot of these, yeah, and that's what and that's the thing with him. It's like, yeah, it makes a great story. Like I saw that Juwan Howard got a son that got drafted first round this year. Salute to them on that or whatever. But I didn't think much of his son at Michigan, to be quite frankly honest with you. I think a lot of that is connections, but we'll see. Jet Howard, I think.
That's why you like LeVar Ball. You got two kids in the top 3 draft. Jello is kind of on the fringe, maybe as a role player, he'll make his way in. But yeah, man, like it's hard, man. Like pedigree be damned. The NBA is the 1%.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Look, there's too much money on the line for them not to let him get through. But as far as him answering the bell, we'll see. Hey, let's see. It was a regular high school game. Jordan's son was on the number 1 team, and EJ was ranked number 2 at the time. EJ cooked their ass. Damn, I thought it was wait a minute. I thought it was one of the McDonald's games, so that even make my example more. All right, damn, that's what's up. Yeah, but Thibodeau is right about this. It was because I watched it. It was, and I don't watch high school basketball like that. It was like it was a big deal, So
I hate watching high school basketball. The game that sticks out to me is and shout out to the NBA champion Aaron Gordon playing against the Harrison twins. I would say about 7 years ago. And Aaron Gordon held it down against the Harrison twins. And Harrison twins, no longer NBA. Aaron Gordon obviously being an NBA champion now. But yeah, man, like, God, I hate watching freaking high school basketball, man. It just stings. In every era,
Is it because are you meaning recently high school versus old or just in general?
well, just I mean, like the last 5-6 years, it's terrible.
Oh, it's gotten bad.
It's terrible.
Oh wow.
It's damn near watch.
Damn.
Think of how Michael Porter Jr. plays. Think of 10 players playing like him.
I hate his game. I
hate it.
You
That's why high school is, bro.
You said that's the high school game. Now,
Yeah.
it seems like what you're saying. If I can say it from my remedial way of watching basketball in comparison to yours, is it's a video game.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a video game. It's a low IQ level. That's why I don't like low IQ players, and I say that all the time on this channel. I don't like Russell Westbrook. I don't like James Harden. I don't like Michael Porter Jr. When you don't play with IQ, you play with basically feel. I hate your game, and that's what that is.
We've beaten up Russell Westbrook too much, but let me rephrase that. We've beaten him up enough to where it's like, but I will say this. I think it's embarrassing when you're 33, 34 years old. And dude, when I was watching him when he was with the Clippers, yeah, he had some good games here and there, but it was still the same shit.
He stinks.
By the way, he's a free agent, right?
Yeah. And watch how people over him.
I think he may end up potentially in Miami. I mean, I'm only saying that because I will say this. I do like his motor. I've always Now, it is embarrassing when you've been playing for this damn. Hold a second. I'll end on this. This isn't necessarily IQ, or maybe it is, but on this Dennis Rodman feature I was watching, Isaiah was talking about he was at the layup line with Dennis Rodman, and he said Dennis Rodman stepped aside. He's like, "What you doing, Worm?" He said, keep in mind, I've been playing basketball since I was 4 years old. He said, I've never seen a guy do this. He was counting the rotations on my ball, and then he started counting the rotations on Joel's. He's like, wait, Joel has 5, okay. And this to figure out how it careens off the rim, to where it goes. Yeah. And he was like, damn, this guy is looking at it like this. And we know that Rodman is not the brightest bulb in the room, generally speaking, But for him to see it at that level, whereas Russell Westbrook is just always 100 miles per hour down,
Yeah.
You will see that dude literally dribble into a double team. And then, I was taught you don't jump and pass.
Yeah. Just jump passes. Or it's like the hardest thing in playing high-level basketball. It's a Cardinal thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. That's just one of those, break glass in case of emergency type of deals,
Exactly. Because ultimately, here's what it is with guys like that. Guys like that, I mean, and Dennis Rodman was blessed with the genetic lottery, being 6'9", being athletic. If y'all know his story, he was not a guy like that. He went to southeastern Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
He's from Dallas, Oak Cliff, and he played 1 year varsity or something like that. Like, Dennis Rodman is a genetic anomaly. You can't use that as a rubric because that's something that just happens, and it's just like a blessing from the Most High. But if you try to apply that logic to like normalcy, you're gonna stop at bullshit boulevard at every time.
But I was making the point, and just the reason I kind of brought him up was just his little nuance thing. But also, Russell Westbrook has probably been playing AAU since he was 9 years old.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like, you play like a dumb. I mean, even when I was rooting for him when he had the MVP season, deep down I knew he wasn't. He's never struck me as a bright basketball player. And truth be told, I blame him for when Golden State was up 3-2, what have you. I do. Again, or you're not Golden State when OKC.
Yeah.
I do. I do.
You gonna say the main point though about what he was before you in the NBA?
All I was simply saying was that
you.
he had more experience than Rodman, so it's no excuse that his game or knowledge of the game did not evolve in a sense versus Rodman. Yeah, he sucked as an offensive player, but he knew every fucking defensive nuance there is to the game so much that he could play till he was 40 and still be effective. You know, and you play defense, you can last forever in a league.
Right.
Go ahead.
Defense, there's no glory in defense.
No, but go ahead. You're saying about
here's why Russell Westbrook sucks to me. Russell Westbrook never played point guard in his life before he got to NBA. Never. So he has a two guard, i.e., score first mentality that never got circumvented. And now you at the NBA level, you're asked to play point guard. And I had nobody to basically tell me I'm wrong. The 3 years that Kevin Durant won goddamn fucking top scorer of the year.
Score champion.
Yeah, scoring champion. Russell Westbrook got more shots than him all 3 years.
That's insane. I need to look that up. Not that I don't believe you, but I just got to see that myself. Damn.
Because he does not know how to be a point guard. And it's been evident. And I was saying this early in Thibodeau. Tell me if I'm lying, Thibodeau. I said this like 2013, 2012. No, 2013, 2012. Like Russell Westbrook is not that guy because he does not know how to play point guard properly. And I just personally, from a playing standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, I know that a point guard, he has to be on point from a cerebral standpoint, from a execution standpoint. And Westbrook, to me, has always been a score-first guy. And that's going to get you beat. And I've been right for most of my adult life about him. That's just fact.
No, that's interesting. Not to compare it to football, but it's kind of like the quarterback in football, and the difference between the good quarterbacks and just the guys with the cannons in the arms is the game slows down for them.
Absolutely.
And I remember there was a player. He actually became an MVP, and he was a pretty marginal player most of his career. And I ain't talking about Kurt Warner. I remember Rich Gannon.
I do.
And it's like I'm like, wait a minute. The guy from Minnesota, and he started, the game just got slower for him. Now I'm just tying this to point guard. I noticed even in the finals, what's his name? Lowry. I'm like, damn, Lowry's 37 years old and he can still kind of control the game in a sense. And, he can still now. And it was good that I was like, because he started off as a starter, here in Miami. And I'm like, he's not suited for that at this stage of his career. And, he's obviously smart enough, like, okay, let me let the young legs come in first, and then I can come in and stabilize things. And it's sad that he sees the game better than Russell Westbrook because he doesn't have a tenth of the athleticism as Russell Westbrook. But what does the athleticism mean if you don't know how to use it?
Less is more.
Yeah. And now at this stage of his career where he's 33, 34, he could be even going on 35, man. I could be wrong on that about Westbrook. Maybe I'm not. But no, I think he's 34 right now. It's like if the game hasn't slowed down for you at this point,
it never slow. Real shit. I mean, listen, man, I'm not picking on this man. I'm not saying he's a bad human. You know, it's funny when you criticize Russell Westbrook, they talk about how good of a father he is and all this horse shit. That's not the indictment. Like, that's not the indictment. The indictment is you're a dumb basketball player and you're a loser. And a loser in the sense that on a championship level to be a MVP level guy. That's it. So listen, everybody can't be a winner. Russell Westbrook.
He said everybody can't be a winner, but damn, you can learn that I'm not the best
You can learn.
program. I don't know. I'm not the best program.
No.
I'm not the best at my job, but I know so many of my nuances that I'm the person that they come and ask, you know, and I know the things before it's being asked. You know how to anticipate things like that, man.
So
It
why?
seems
Okay, I gotta ask you. Why do you have to do that?
because I'm willing to learn.
Okay. That nigga ain't willing.
I think you're right. But he plays hard.
No.
he's like I know, but he plays hard, man. But he run hard,
Okay,
but he dunk hard, man. That's why.
He can't even dunk hard. This like wide open dunks, mishandles, a lot of plays. I mean,
I think that. Okay, I'll say this, and I promise I'll go to sleep on this. And we're talking about Westbrook. I sincerely think that a lot of his flaws he kind of knows have gotten exposed, and it's kind of like he's in his head now, if that makes sense. And maybe I'm not saying it the way I wanted to say it. It's kind of like you're the kid who cheat. Okay, I don't want to use that analogy because I don't want to cheat him on this. But yeah, you're the kid who cheated to get into Harvard, and now everybody finds out you're an idiot.
Nailed it. You never learn to be the point guard. And when it's so, I'll give one example. It's a shining example. Russell Westbrook, 2018, he had a situation where he played against the Utah Jazz, and Ricky Rubio went off a 40 on his ass. And
I remember this.
In Westbrook's, post game speech was, "I'm gonna get him back." And no, incorrect, sir. The correct answer is, I'm gonna play defense properly next time, because Rubio would not hit you for 40 again. That's not his game. Rubio is a pass first point guard. So it just shows you the disconnect of his basketball acumen and how he views himself. And I see the same thing in James Harden. James Harden, shout out to my guy Between the Game Sports. He had a camp in 2012, 2011, something like that. Somebody asked him, what's your approach to going against other players? James Harden said to embarrass them. Wrong answer, sir. You're wrong. The correct answer should be to get your teammates in the best position to win and do the right move. So it gives you, basically, it reveals the hand of what the player is about. And so when you say things like that, you show what you're about. And so I say with full confidence, these dudes are idiots. And no disrespect to them as men, but as far as basketball players, they're idiots. And so I can say that, yeah, you're going to lose every time.
It seems though to me, when you say the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, which is what they are, how could they have gotten this? I mean, we're not these are not marginal players by any stretch. You know what I'm saying? Talent wise. Let me be clear on that. And your microphone was sounding real far away, but I just can't believe how inept. And I vividly remember that Ricky Rubio, game, and because he was hurt, you're like, damn, this guy cooked me of all. It's like how, and he was just so focused on that aspect of it. All right, man, I'm gonna listen to you close it out. Y'all have a good night. It's 1:15, so all right, bet.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is, man. Russell Westbrook is a me guy. He is an individual guy, in my opinion. And like Tibb said, you were correct on Russ. That's why in 2012, Harden would come off come on to play moving Russ off the ball. I think you mean 2020. But listen, man, you are who you are. If you're a low IQ player, excuse me, you're a low IQ player. I'm not saying that, you don't add value to what the NBA is. You don't add value to what basketball is. I'm not saying that. But when I start comparing you to the pantheon of the best players, no, you don't qualify. Sorry. You don't. Because when it comes down to you playing, smart, you being in the right position, you putting your teammates in the right position, you don't have the right. I mean, not the right. You don't have the ability to do it. And that's what it is. Oh, okay, yeah. Yes. And so, and that's when, I used to be a big James Harden fan, but watching them in the 2012 finals, I was just like, what the hell is this shit I'm watching? Now, when we went to the Rockets, that's when I really was like, only hard dribble left, only step back three. You ain't got nothing else in your game. And people are comparing to Kobe, Jordan, Wade. Oh, no. Oh, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So it's just a rough sled, man. And listen, man, with these streams, with these conversations, you got to be not afraid to be wrong. Because why is that? When somebody say you're wrong, well, I'm sorry, when you're wrong, oh, you was wrong there. But when you look at like professional people who, do this at the highest level, they're wrong all the time. And your boy Hoop Jogging is not afraid to be wrong. But I'm going to give you my opinion based on my logic. And my logic system, listen, I may be wrong with the end result, but I'm going to tell you what I see, and I'm going to give you a reason behind it. And if it doesn't pan out, no problem. I was wrong. Nobody bats 1,000. So with that being said, I got to beat my chest a little bit with Westbrook. I showed y'all this on my channel, since 2020. I got a 7-part series about is Russell Westbrook done? And I challenge you to listen to anything I said and say I'm wrong. It's a three-year project. Here's what it is. I talked about James Harden for about 3 years. Tell me I'm wrong. But at any rate, we're the 2-hour mark, and I appreciate y'all being a part of the stream, and I really appreciate y'all listening in. But I gotta listen. I gotta lay it down, man. I gotta work tomorrow. So thank y'all so much. If you want to contribute again, hit the like button. That's free. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you really, really like it, hit the super chat, or you can hit the Cash App, and I greatly appreciate you. But what, it's 10:30 over here, LA time. So my Central Time people, I know you on overtime over there. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna play the outro, and thank y'all so much for being part of this stream, guys. Thank y'all. And with that being said, we out. Peace.